Hello and welcome back to the Tabletop Tactics podcast, the show where each week we discuss a different topic or tangent and hear from you, our amazing community. I am James Jordan, aka The Bard, and today I am joined by Lawrence Baker, the Spider.
Not as menacing as usual.
I'm trying to peel back the menace. Like a lovely Christmas orange.
I'm very zen, I'm very Yoda today.
Oh good, I'm
It's
glad.
not menacing anywhere today.
But speaking of menace, we have Joe Pointing.
Happy New Year, you massive host.
Thank you. We were in uncharted waters for a lot of that sentence,
You
weren't
bloody
we?
great host over there, hosting this show.
At the end of Massive, I was on bated breath. I was like,
Yeah. I was like, looking over
Where is this
the
going?
on the top of a roller coaster. It has, speaking of massive, this is an immediate segue. We're diving right in today. A lot's happened in a very short space of time.
We've got a lot to talk about
in
today.
Warhammer Land. A lot has happened. Now this is January. We're starting off a whole new year. Whole new year. We know, like from the reveals and stuff, there's a lot already announced that's coming out this year. You've got Creek, you've got Elder. Like we're seeing little teasers of Emperor's Children, little files and stuff from Warcom, like little scopes.
churning them out.
The noise weapons. They might have shown more by the time.
Yeah,
this episode's out,
exactly.
but
Yeah.
The sonic weapons are.
yes,
They're looking right. They're looking right.
By the time this comes out, they would have done their
Little
traditional
Christmas Day
Christmas Day
reveal.
reveal. If it's not Emperor's Children, I'll be shocked.
Yeah.
What if it's something else?
We've been in a drought. We've been in a 40k drought. I'm a husk. I've got all my liquids have gone.
And as they say, and then when it rains, it pours.
But very exciting.
Also, behind the curtain as well here, everybody, like when everyone was told about the Grotmas Advent Calendar thing, that was the first any of us here had heard of that either. So suddenly just like, bam, there's going to be 24 new detachments, was like, wow. And I think that's kind of what we want to talk about today, because we know there's lots of codexes to come. We know lots of armies still have yet to receive their books. But something unprecedented happened at the end of 2024. And that was Games Workshop, for free, released a new rules for every single army in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Interesting.
wonder why they did it.
That's what I said. Why?
Yeah. Do you think it's a reaction to, I don't know, like the way they feel the game is playing at the moment, or they just wanted to be nice? Is this like a good? Is this a good like PR exercise?
Yeah.
Is this just a nice thing to shine up their appearance?
Well, I think, you know, despite what some people may think, I think our corporate overlords are not all, you know, inherently evil and trying to destroy everything, because like any business, they also want to succeed and are aware that they do need to have a relationship, a semi-good relationship with their customers in order to continue making their sterling profits, which they seem to be doing just fine.
Well, they're about to enter the FTSE 100.
Right, so that's no joke, right?
Massive.
Yeah, that's massive.
It's not like they were struggling, then they were like, oh, this might gee up some excitement. They was like,
Well, I think there's still a bit of an image of them being quite a small company.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
in terms of like money,
Yeah.
they are not a
They're a
small
big company.
company
See,
at all.
I don't know if Games Workshop are as perhaps acutely aware of some of the echo chambers out there saying 10th is not good, or you know. But I mean, I've played so many editions of 40k now. There's always been that echo chamber with every single edition.
it's never
There's
perfect.
never been an edition where go, this is the greatest edition ever, and everyone's like feels the same. Like it's just never happened, and I suspect it never will, and that's okay, because you know people like different things, right? And they certainly veteran players, they miss older things, and you know people don't like change. So there's a whole bunch of reasons as to why things happen. But that said, I think GW are aware that because only they know their sales figures with 40k, whether it's actually doing as well as, say, the end of ninth, which I'm sure is what most people try to compare it to. I think they are aware that not all of the codexes are out.
Yeah.
And that perhaps through, you know, that no fault of their own or logistics or whatever, the codexes have been delayed. And I get the impression that there has been delays. Well, in fact, I know there's been delays. I've been told that there have been delays. So they're not hitting the timeline that they expected. With the codex release schedule overall anyway. So I suspect that because they don't have as many codexes out as they hoped they would by this point, they're like, you know what, let's do a little bit of damage control here. Let's chuck everyone a new detachment, which will spice things up, 6 months after Pariah Nexus as well, and because I think they're doing a mission pack every year was the goal.
I think so, maybe.
Well, they've done one a year so far. Granted, this has not been out that long, and so what will happen is you've got this nice mid-break of here's all a bunch of new detachments, including for armies just don't have their codex yet, so you can carry on playing with that, enjoy Pariah Nexus for X amount of time before the next mission pack comes out, which I'm particularly interested in.
Yeah.
Because I think that's where we'll probably, because that would be what, midlife of the edition then? That's where they might go, we're going to change some things up now.
Okay. The thing that not confuses me, but I think, because at first I was completely with you, it must be like there's delays on codexes, so here's some more stuff. Because the last time we saw a detachment just get released was when that Sky Splinter, the extra Drakari detachment came out.
Yeah, because they apparently were performing in the bottom percentile.
And Death Guard before that as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. And Death Guard got a massive one as well.
Did they get a new detachment, a whole change? It was a detachment, wasn't it? Or was it changes?
They basically rewrote the codex.
Yeah,
it was. I think it was like a replacement detachment for their index.
Because because when the Drakari one came out, in the back of my mind I was like, it probably means they're at the end of the cycle.
Yeah.
So Games Workshop like, this will tide you over. Yeah. But what then was interesting about these attachments is I would have expected it to be all the ones that don't have codexes, but the fact they were adding in ones for books that are already out as well, or books that have literally just come out.
Yeah, that was with the Blood Angels, right?
Like you've got Blood Angels and then Guard.
Yeah.
And this is like sandwiched in between both those books coming out. Like we know one's out and one's about to be released effectively. So what was quite fascinating is it felt like, is it tiding people over, or are they responding to some elements of, are we now going to see them start doing this more regularly, of being like, here's more stuff. Here's more free stuff as well. They very rarely, they're still selling books that are completely invalidated by their new rules. So to give away rules for free,
it's very odd. So
it's interesting.
People will forget this, and people will go, there's like some ulterior motive or something, or I can't believe Games Workshop have done this. But the thing is, back in 7th edition, which is what a lot of people really enjoyed as well. This sort of detachment release, when they had like formations and all that sort of jazz, it would be stuck in a book which you had to pay for.
Exactly right.
And you would only be interested in the 1 or 2 factions
Angel's
that you
Blade
played.
and stuff.
And you basically, which was on 2 pieces of paper in a 50, 60 page book. But you'd still have to pay the full price for the book. So actually, it is a massively cool thing that they've done.
It's really cool.
And whether all of the detachments are good or not, I don't actually think it is relevant in this instance. I think the fact is you've got an alternative way to play. Not everyone plays cutting edge competitive anyway. So actually, if the detachment is fluffy, it might just be a cool, fun way to play.
But I think there's
an alternative.
Yeah, they're fluffy, but there's also some really just interesting, well thought out, flavorful detachments as well. Like the Drakari one, where they partner up with the Harlequins, is weird as hell.
Yes.
But it's really interesting. I don't think anyone was asking for or saw that coming at all. So it's just a big surprise and something completely new.
That's right.
It's cool.
It is cool.
And some of it is genuinely like gaps where people, I feel like, for example, Dark Angels, very close to my heart, there is no way of really properly running Deathwing and Ravenwing together as a combined, they are working and helping each other out.
Yeah.
So like, here it is.
Yeah.
Guard, it's like a Scions detachment.
Yeah, which is really cool. To allow you to sort of play that army and lean into.
Which is kind of niche. So the fact they're like supporting these niche, like the formations you would get, or you'd get in the back of a campaign supplement. It's like, here you are, free. It's like, that's really quite interesting.
It is.
One thing that is a bit weird and maybe a bit of a miss is some of the detachments like the Drakari Harlequins one, where you're sort of relying on having access to another faction's worth of models. Right. So both the Knights Codexes, you can only use them if you happen to also have AdMech, or with Chaos Knights, you also happen to have a bunch of cultists.
Yeah.
That is a bit of a shame, but I wonder if maybe they're going to start introducing like mixed factions.
More like an allies table type thing.
Not necessarily like it used to be like Imperial Suit, where you could just do whatever you wanted, but sort of like a pairing with another one.
Yeah, a theme sort of it has a direction or a flavour to it.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because I really like that concept. We've said before, I'd like to actually see some infantry for the Knights. It was just interesting that I was like, well, you now need to collect AdMech. It's like, well, as a Knights fan, I'm not super into AdMech, so I'm like, I don't really want to do that.
Yeah.
But what is interesting about that, and I wonder if it's, because the model range is quite small for Knights, that book probably does when it comes out, will have quite a lot of those things. Same with Drukhari. Like, I'm imagining covens and things like that will be in their codex.
Yes.
So no wonder the detachment is almost a bit head scratch from GW of like, what do we actually do as a bonus thing here?
Yeah.
Like, and some of them did feel like that. So that makes me think even more, at what point was it we need to help these factions? And what point was it like, well, we are now going to start from on high. They've been told, every faction is getting a detachment. Because some of them do feel like they've found some rules down the back of the sofa and sort of glued them together. Yeah. Whereas other ones are really well crafted, so it's almost...
Well, the Tactical Brigade is
It's
really
so
good.
cool.
I mean, some of them actually, I think, flat out competitive as well.
Yeah, really spicy.
Whilst also themed.
Yeah.
I mean, things like Tactical Brigade allowing you to run those 60 Storm Boys again.
Yeah.
Really
Like,
nice.
GW did not have to do that.
No.
They had already axed that from memory, basically. You know, all of those poor Orc players that
Like
ran...
Death Skulls, whatever
that
it is,
ran,
isn't it?
yeah, that ran... that because you used to be able to take them in units of 20.
Blood axes.
So it's like,
Blood axes.
it's a really sucky thing to suddenly say, oh, now it's unit size 10. But they've actually now given you a way to play them. That's actually really cool.
With a really old kit as well.
Yeah.
They're not like trying to sell their kill teams with this detachment. We're talking like, what, 8, 9, 10-year-old kit, the Storm Boys? They're ancient. Really.
Yeah, and it's a great detachment.
Yeah.
The Grey Knights one is a really interesting
Yeah,
detachment.
really
I mean, I think initially everyone was like, the other one's better, but I think a lot of people were forgetting you still get the uppy downy in the new one.
still keep that,
And with some of the changes with like prognosticated arrival, I mean, we're not going to go into the rules here, but you get it. Like actually re-rolling hits is a big deal. So there's some really good detachments and good ways to play.
The other interesting thing is that although there's some new ways to play, it has sort of really thrown things up in the air for some factions that don't have a codex yet.
Right.
So with Chaos Demons, for instance, they have 4 detachments.
Yeah.
Each one is Khorne, Tzeentch, Nurgle, and Slanesh.
Oh, yeah.
So the mono factions have been released for free through this Grotmas thing. What then are they going to put in the codex?
Yeah.
Because in my mind, we were waiting for mixed demons and then 4 more detachments, making 5. So you can do mixed demons and then each of the mono factions. But now they've released those already for free.
Right.
What then is the new codex going to be? Because your theory previously, I was like, there's no way that's going to happen.
You're a fool, James.
And your theory was what?
That, drumroll please, that will get Codex Nurgle effectively. That will be Death Guard and Nurgle Demons.
Sure.
So it'll be like each of the gods will have their book, and that will have all your Death Guard stuff and all your Nurgle Demon stuff in one book.
Yeah, so what you're trying to do...
And I don't necessarily think I want to do that.
What you're trying to do is excite me with the idea of Demonkin returning.
Maybe a little.
To date is I think my favourite codex, and actually one of my favourite armies to play of all time.
It was great.
It was great, and the mechanics. GW did one of those amazing things where they created a fluffy, incredible book, which actually had competitive legs, but it wasn't broken.
Yeah.
It just worked. It was good, but it wasn't too good.
Yeah.
The way the demons came in for free, the whole blood tie thing, it actually worked. They got it right in the context of that edition. And everyone was so excited. Slanesh Demonkin, Tzeentch Demonkin. Did they do it? No. Are they going to do it? Is that what you're suggesting?
Well, basically,
I'm talking to you.
I think more so than ever do I now kind of put credence to my theory, because the major weakness to my theory was like, well, if you're a Demons fan and you have all these demon models, you now need to buy 4 books to potentially run different types of demons. They now, for free, have released all the... And also, it's not like they're like really super niche parts of the Nurgle mythos, or this is a super niche Slanesh detachment. They're like, that's kind of what you'd expect from the Nurgle Demons detachment, right? So if they're all out there for free, it's now not really a negative if you get this really cool concept of Demonkin back for each of the different gods. Do you know what I mean?
So I agree with you a bit.
Ooh!
But not totally.
Now that the mono factions are out and they're free, and they're not going to be in the next codex,
Presumably, yeah.
I think it is going to be Demonkin. I don't think it's going to be called Demonkin, but I think the main theme of the book will be Demonkin, but it'll only be 1 book.
Oh, interesting.
Because I can't see them doing Codex Nurgle Demonkin, here's 3, 4, 5 detachments, because there's not enough wiggle room. I think if they did Chaos Demons, the mono factions as Demonkin, plus like a mixed Demonkin sort of thing, then you can run all of the demons. I wonder if they might mix in things like Possessed, things like Obliterators, those more gnarly looking units that will probably fit quite nicely into
Possession.
exactly, into a Demonkin kind of book. I don't really know what else they do at this point.
Yeah.
Because Mono Demons is done. What else do you put in the codex?
Oh, so you're thinking they have another book that's more about...
I think they're still going to do the Chaos Demon Codex, but I think it's going to be in the theme of Demon King.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's separate, because I'm thinking we have no Chaos Demon.
I think there's going to be...
No Chaos Demons?
I think...
No,
I
you
think
can't do that.
So, I think you get Slaves to Darkness, which will be Be'lakor, Cultists, Demon King kind of thing, but then in the Death Guard book, there'll be a Nurgle detachment and a Death Guard and Nurgle detachment. In the World Eaters book, there'll be World Eaters, and then a Khorne Demons and World Eaters. Almost like they've done with Sigma. Do you know what I mean?
I would actually love that. I think that would be great for 40k. But I think that they should have a demon codex.
They should. I think that
You can call it Slaves to Darkness, and they can have mortals in there as well, because actually I think that's a really cool flavour. And I'd make it like, that's like a cult army.
Yeah.
But I think they have to have a codex.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say, and sorry to cut you off.
That's fine.
I'll remember what you're about to say and cut in. What if though, and I don't know this, but what if those detachments, the 4 chaos, let's use the demons as a reference. What if actually those are the detachments which are in the codex?
Yeah, there is that.
There's no one saying that they're not going to put them in the codex.
They've said all of these are going to exist separately to the codexes.
They've said that?
Yeah. So
they've said it?
Yeah, so Astra Militarum isn't going to be in their new codex.
So the Scions one's not going to be...
The Armoured War Host not in the Eldar codex. So these are separate. All of these are separate.
Wow.
Yeah, see what I mean?
Isn't it?
It's brave new world.
They're all, you can all use them in match play. They're all available in match play.
They're
you can use them any way you like. They're legit.
Chapter approved.
Yeah, there's not some Legends nonsense. These are all legit.
Well, actually, that's a really good point, the Legends thing, because I think, obviously, Deathwatch have sort of returned to the battlefield within this detachment release.
They got their codex.
Yeah, right? But what is interesting is, what is exciting me is that this allows Games Workshop to be a bit brave with some of the decisions, because they now also have a get out of jail free card to an extent of like, yeah, you might now not get a codex traditionally, but we will cover you with free stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They can make these bold decisions of doing a Slaves to Darkness or the Imperial Agents. They definitely got their hands burnt. And maybe that was the catalyst to make them do all of this.
Right.
But do you know what I mean? They almost did something quite interesting with Imperial Agents. And then but there's also a Deathwatch index as well for free. So even though you haven't got your book, we're making this creative decision for the future of the game and potentially the health of the game overall.
But I don't think they planned the Deathwatch, had they? I think they scrambled. That was like an
That was a
afterthought.
scramble.
That was just a bad mistake. I think that was another good PR move.
But I wonder if maybe if the Demons thing is weird. And I hope that Demons fans, you get whatever your heart desires. I hope you don't have a Deathwatch scenario. But it's that thing, isn't it? Is this allowing, because Games Workshop now have set a precedent of they can release 24 detachments for free.
Right.
Can they be bold and almost make huge decisions? But they're like, don't worry about it, because there will be extra stuff for free for those factions that have moved around or tessellated. Do you know what I mean?
I don't want to stay on Demons for too long because we haven't got that much time. But the other confusing thing with Demons is that the model range is enormous.
Yeah, this is
it's huge because it goes with Sigmar, Fantasy, and 40k. Yeah. A lot of those kits are due for an update as well.
Yeah.
There's a number of Sigmar exclusive models, more like the monster size ones, like the Sinesh ones, that could be moved over to 40k.
Right.
If you think about Deathwatch, they've only got 3 actual boxes of models. Yeah. There's nothing there, so it's sort of no wonder they got an index, really. But the other thing that we still don't know about the Demons is that there haven't been any of we haven't seen Death Guard, we haven't seen Thousand Suns, World Eaters, or Emperor's Children, which we know is coming now, in terms of how Demons might be integrated into those. So we literally have no idea.
Yeah, it's wild.
I don't know what's going to happen.
It feels so open-ended now.
My hat in the ring piece would be that I do want them to put Demons back in those Legion specific books.
Spicy.
I come from editions where Demons being in the Chaos Space Marine book was normal.
Yeah.
They pretty much never got it right, other than outside of that demon kin. But like word bearers and that sort of jazz need a way to, if it's through a detachment, you can make that work, to be able to bring in demons.
Yeah.
It's very fluffy. It's how Chaos is supposed to work. That should be their unique thing, not sustained or lethal.
Yeah, exactly right.
That they should have something really interesting and unique, and then they will play so differently to normal Marines as well.
Well, they might Agents of the Imperium it.
Yes.
That might be their army rule. You can use demons in Chaos Space Marine.
And I think what's interesting about all this, like you say, like it now seems that it kind of feels like an injection of flavour. That's what I felt across all the detachments.
Yes,
there are
big
things
time.
we didn't need,
Yeah.
but are really nice. Of like, hey, do you like this thing from the fluff that is really specific?
Yeah.
Here's a new detachment for it. And we said in a podcast we did a while ago now about sort of what we would like to see happen going forwards for 10th / an 11th edition. And I think we all kind of agreed we don't necessarily want them to have to constantly like, well, the core rules have changed now, everything's invalidated and we've got to go through all these books and kind of resetting everything all the time. It feels a bit deja vu, like Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
So someone's going to be broken for a bit and then they're going to fix it and change it. Like this almost encourages me to think that like they've got the cool rules, they're quite enjoyable, they've got the keywords. I'd rather every year we get a kind of exciting there's new ways to play your army.
Yeah.
Not like, okay, fundamentally the game has changed. It might need to happen. But I think this has really got me excited for a world in which they can just update 40k rather than have to kind of start again every time.
Yeah, definitely.
Speaking of updating, I think we're now approaching a time where they're going to have to consolidate everything. Because we were playing yesterday, we were doing Orcs versus Deathwatch, which is a brilliant game. I don't know if it's out yet on Freeview.
Soon.
Please
You had a PDF brigade, you had the codex, your index cards, and the app.
Yeah.
Because nothing was going together. Yeah. There's also all the balanced data slate stuff. Yeah. There's the core rules and their updates too. Yeah. It is all over the place.
Yeah.
So I wonder, we've talked previously about, is 11th edition going to be more like a 10.5 consolidation of everything?
Well, I hope
they're getting towards
yeah.
a point where they have to put everything into one document, even if it is just digital.
Yeah.
I mean, just like the mid edition.
Yeah, definitely.
This is what is actually the rules.
The app does a great job, the 40k app. I mean, yeah, sure. Yeah. Unfortunately, you have to subscribe and then buy the codexes. But once you've done that, you actually do have, they put all of the detachments in there, and it's got the latest FAQs and everything updated, which is really helpful. So I sort of use that religiously now as my main source. But when they release things which haven't been updated on the app yet, it becomes a real headache.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, they need a consolidation.
Yeah, because like, for example, they're one of my favourite factions. Dark Angels right now, every single one of the iconic units, the Lion, Deathwing Knight, Black Knight, Samael, every single one of them, the codex is completely wrong now.
Yeah.
None of their rules are correct, none of their data sheets are correct, their army rules are different. It's like, that book is has, within 9 months, been almost completely outdated.
Yeah.
And it then gets to a point of like, I know they're reticent to go purely digital, and the app does work, that's great, but it does kind of feel like, by being more reactive and being more on it with the rules, kind of writing themselves out of that print format, because they just can't like.
If they want to, they are doing some good work in keeping things updated.
Amazing.
I don't begrudge them for that.
No.
They are trying to balance the game, and they're doing a pretty good job for the most part, I think. But yeah, it's going to get to a point where they kind of have to consolidate and have like this is actually what you need to follow at this point, because all of your index cards are incorrect.
Yeah.
Your codex is incorrect.
Yep.
And unless you actually
buy those, they're physical things.
And unless you know what you're looking for, it's impossible to know. Come January, when all these new detachments are in the app, if you're a Dark Angels player and let's say you haven't bought the codex, for instance, and you're a new player, you go onto the app, it's like, cool, my new detachment is here. What's it called?
It is the Lion's Claw Task Force.
Brilliant. Lion's Claw Task Force. Select Strike Force, 2,000 points. Let's put in the data cards. So you can see all the rules for your new detachment. You can't see anything else.
Yeah.
Or any of the data cards.
Yeah.
Why is there not like a buy digital version for 99p or whatever? Imagine all of the people that would do that. I know it's 99p, or make it I don't know, make it an appropriate amount of money.
I know.
But everyone would get it.
Yeah.
Or just have like another tier to the Warhammer Plus subscription where you can access all the rules.
Yeah, I think.
Yes, that's another
What a
way
joy it would be to make lists again.
Because I think that's the issue, is that
and bring back granularity.
I think that's what, like, I get that from a just mechanical perspective. They probably don't want to make you have purchases in the app, because then if it's on the App Store, you have to pay various providers.
Well, correct, yeah, that's
right.
why. That's
and
why
I imagine
they don't have that.
That's why you can't just buy. Also, why you can't just buy your list in the app. That seems like a brilliant idea.
But who would buy the codex now?
Yeah.
Who in their right mind would buy that codex? Because it's completely invalid. Yeah. It's one thing buying it and everything become invalid. That's very sad. But like selling that book, every single data card is incorrect. It's just wrong, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you're buying a rule book and all the rules are incorrect, that's just stupid.
If you walk into a Games Workshop right now and there's a Dark Angels Codex on the shelf.
Yeah.
It literally is wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, I hadn't
really
even thought
bad.
about it like that. That's
really
mad.
bad. Yeah.
The points are wrong on day of release.
Yeah.
And then the data sheets subsequently become wrong. So
Yeah.
you can't, all you've got is the fluff.
Are they going to reprint the codexes? I don't think so. It's mad.
Yeah.
I've never thought of that.
Yeah, that's
the
mad.
edition probably won't last long enough given their
Yeah, to reprint.
apparent
Yeah.
cycle for them to ever reprint.
So true.
Yeah.
Because, what are they saying? A 4 to 5 year edition cycle now?
Yeah, it gives a real moral issue to a Games Workshop employee in a Warhammer store.
Yeah.
If someone's coming in and is like, I want to buy Dark Angels,
Yeah.
it's like, here's the rule book
But then
you
I
can
guess
buy.
they've got
Then they get their sucky thing of you won't be able to unlock the detachment in your app unless you've got a codex.
you have to buy the book that's completely incorrect to access the up-to-date rules.
Right, and then on top of that, your index cards, they're never going to
Nope.
reprint those.
Nope.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Problem, isn't it?
And also I think, because I think they're getting away with it at the moment, but I do think it is going to come to a head because they are getting much better at, and we shouldn't begrudge them for, releasing more updates, releasing new content, releasing new things to keep the game alive.
That's great.
But that will come back to get them because it is getting to a point, isn't it, when these guards on the horizon with Krieg, that could be completely wrong a couple of weeks after it gets released. That's madness.
It's not good.
It's kind of wrong, ultimately.
Yeah.
And I think they will have to move to a model of the fluff's in here, but if there's a code at the back, you get it. And I guess that's the get out of jail free card, isn't it?
Yeah.
Here's your code to get it for free on the app.
Yeah.
But it's we'll have to buy a subscription for the app.
You could still make a very beautiful book if you think about the way a new codex should be. You go lovely artwork, you've got new artwork, nostalgic artwork, all the fluff in the front. Yeah. You then have the data cards in there, but each one has a QR code or something, so you can see the actual up-to-date rules. Yeah. There's literally no point printing any of the rules in the book.
No.
It's great everything's being updated, but in a print format, it doesn't work.
No.
Yeah.
Not if you're going to update it that quickly.
Yeah, I think that is very, and that is maybe one of the things I think we'll see going forward because I'd not say stress enough, but I can't put the unprecedented nature on 24 new detachments entirely for free. Mm-hmm. They wrapped it up with some Christmas veneer, it being Advent and all that. But when has that, that doesn't happen normally. No. And I'm hopeful that this is maybe a new, something we'll see more often. This is actually a new direction they're taking the rules and the way they do armies that we kind of used to see with these books with Angel's Blade and stuff, but doing it in a more, here's more content for the game you love.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's not we know we were delayed, so here's something to tide you over. I hope there's something they do every year. It's just a really cool, hey, here's more ways to play.
Yeah.
Because that's the important thing, is giving you more ways to enjoy the thing you love.
Yeah.
That's what makes the game fun, right? And I think that's great. If you're enjoying today's video, then I have excellent news for you. Today's video joins a huge library of other podcast shows just like this one as a weekly benefit to our on-demand members. The podcast show is an opportunity for us to discuss different tales, topics, and tangents and hear from our amazing on-demand community as a reward for all of their support. They get to submit questions that we answer on the show. Available right now and instantly is over 60 episodes of podcasts just like this one. So if you want to sign up now for instant access to all of these episodes, head over to tabletoptactics.tv or download our app today. We'd love to have you there, chatting in the comments and submitting show ideas. Anyway, let's get back to today's episode.
What do we think's going to come in the new year? Because we talked about the Grotma stuff, the unexpected nature of their new detachments. In terms of releases, we know Guard's coming. Guard's on the way.
Yeah.
Creed's lovely new Creed models. Eldari's on the way.
What a range.
It was one of my favourites now. One of my favourites. I've always dreamed of being able to have the time of making a drab Eldar army. Rather than being all shiny and new, make them look like they are on the brink of elimination.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's also the Imperial Knights after that. We know that's coming, and then we don't know.
No.
Apart from Emperor's Children, which is coming this year.
God,
and also the fact that I think on the cover up of the Eldar book, they're stood on an Emperor's...
There's a dead Emperor's Champion Space Marine on there.
Yeah.
And they look a bit weird.
They do look a bit weird.
But
they got some very interesting
They may be
looking...
standing on that Emperor's Children Space Marine there, but they're still having to wear their little spirit stones after the death. That god. So who's really the winners?
I think... I think it's almost... not guaranteed, but I think we'll see Emperor's Children this year.
I think they'll be the big summer release. I think.
So is Big Snake Man?
Of course he is.
Yeah,
Of course he is. If you follow the other three, we've got Angron, we've got Mortarion,
You've got to have it. But does that mean that we'll see a loyalist? Will we see another loyalist Primarch return in this edition?
They seem to be less keen on bringing out the loyalist ones, and they actually seem to be less keen on doing much outside of normal Space Marines.
Why are Space Wolves taking so long?
Because it's going to be a big release. It's going to be a full range refresh.
So if they're doing a full...
I don't care what Chef says!
Exactly, yeah.
I don't care what he says! He reckons everything's going to get legends!
He does, yeah.
including the chapter!
He does, yes. Bye-bye, Fenris.
But
if they're going to spend all that time doing a massive refresh...
I mean, if
they're going to bring Mr...
I don't think they're coming this year, in 2025.
No?
No. I think they'll be the very last thing in 10.
Towards the end of 10?
Last thing. I think that's what
controversial.
What?
But after we played a game with the new Grey Knights detachment.
Yes.
Right. And obviously, Purifiers are really strong.
Yeah.
It's because you can take them in units of 10 currently, right? And they're really small bases. They can go all over the board. If that's a 6-man unit suddenly on a much bigger base size to match Crow, that's way less egregious. Good. So are the rules written ahead of the new model range?
Well, but
Would we get new Grey Knight?
Well, this is my point. I was like, is that detachment going to appear in a new Grey Knight Codex? But you've said that they're separate.
But I think it's separate. But I think
it's still valid.
But I think everyone kind of knows that whilst the codexes take a while to come out, the rules have all been written.
Yeah.
I think these detachments we saw have been written after all the codexes.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that makes me think some of the decisions they've made in these detachments are like, whoa, that's crazy. But obviously, if then there's a codex that changes the way the army works, that is still a future-proof detachment.
Yeah,
Listen, so suddenly, I think of 3 to 6 Purifiers, rolling all hits and wounds with their stratagem, is way less scary than 10.
They're giving us little teasers. I think this is what this is. I'm going to go, my tinfoil hat is under my little beanie at the moment, and I think it's all popping off. I don't think it's a coincidence that Storm Boys are battle line in that detachment, because that's a very old kit. And wouldn't it be convenient if when they get their new model and when they bring Boss Zagstruck as well, that has mysteriously disappeared, that they have their own detachment straight away?
Very true. Well, but we've got the Orc Codex out already. But what they could do is release it. It's the sort of thing I could see them doing in a kill team.
Yeah.
Oh, here's 10 Storm Boys.
Exactly.
They did the Scions in a kill team, didn't they?
Oh, and the Scions have all got jump packs. How convenient. The Vespid, they all fly around as well. The Storm Boys have got an old kit.
Also, that's actually a really good point. Because also in the Scions detachment, it calls out Aquilons by name.
Yeah.
So that again is like they knew about that before the tessellation of time.
Yeah.
But I think it tends to be with big release, especially with Chaos and Space Marines. There always tends to be big bad, and then something new and exciting for the loyalists to sort of counter big bad.
Yeah.
If we're getting Emperor's Children,
tell you what else we're getting.
What?
With Emperor's Children,
you might then get some Grey Knights to deal with all the demons.
Of course.
To deal with this.
It's perfect.
A new demon Primarch has emerged.
They've not said anything about my Grey Knight.
Because they're super secret, aren't they?
They've said they're getting their own codex. We know that is happening because there were some concerns with Imperial agents they were going to get death watched.
Because also, one more thing, said Columbo, is that after Imperial agents came out, they were like, you'll notice that the points for Grey Knight Terminators for Grey Knights and the Imperial Agents are different. They will remain separate entities.
Yeah. And they've done that with the Deathwatch Index as well. They're different data sheets.
I reckon in the Grey Knight book they can have a totally different model.
Yeah.
If they do, I'm painting that army. That's my army. And that's a Lawrence Baker army.
The great thing with that range is that it's small, right?
Yes, that's why I actually legitimately.
How many kits are there right now?
Technically, outside of the characters, 2.
Boxes.
3 because you got a Dread Knight.
Yeah.
3 boxes.
It's a very small range.
Yeah, that's it.
Very, very small range.
I think it might get a bit bigger because I would imagine you would have like Inceptors, Purifiers, and Strike Marines all as separate kits.
Do you think?
Because I reckon they would do the Sanguinary Guard things. I think Purifiers or something will go down to 3 to 6.
Like an elite.
Like Inner Circle Companions. That kind of, we've seen it with a lot of the factions.
Yeah.
Same with Paladins, like Deathwing Knights, they'll be like 5-man units.
It will suck for the people that are like, but my Purifiers, but I would say
Always hard, isn't it?
It is going to be hard, but I would say, you know, this is one of those things we need to embrace progression, because like the models strike me as they're so small.
They're tiny.
You know,
yeah.
I dare I say they're a bit derpy.
They look a bit
compared
silly now. Yeah.
You know, it's just I don't, obviously it's just maybe it's a taste thing. I don't think they hold up to the new range. So, you know, I would rather, and I'm a Grey Knight hardcore fanboy, I would rather have new models and paint them than stick with
Imagine
the
what they do with new Grey Knight Paladins.
Yeah, well, I mean, come on, man.
Imagine
Like,
Pure has
listen.
2 hands, like firing. But the thing is,
Oh,
I would say as well, like, same as I said with
New
Samurai
Drago?
Guard. I said this with Blood Angels as well. Like, if you are like, I prefer my old Samurai Guard, just get a base adapter so they're legal and run them in units of 6. Like, there's ways around that stuff. It obviously is sad when you're like, have a whole army range.
Yeah.
It's like,
But it's the only way they can do it. Only way they can do it. The only thing I am concerned about is the Dread Knight. Because it's a bit Marmite, and I'm not a big fan of the Dread Knight model.
No, I don't love it either. I really like the 3D printed conversion kit
with
out
the
there where it's
sealed.
fully enclosed, where it basically looks like a large dreadnought. I actually think that looks, or a large knight. I think that looks really cool actually, but I'd like them to, I'd be happy with them to reimagine it completely, but it just doesn't make sense to me. I know that he's got a force field. I know the fluff. I was reading Grey Knights before they were even written, okay? It just, no, it doesn't make sense.
My predictions are going to be a little bit like the sisters' suits. So they're not like Paragon War suits. They're not like in a carrier. They are in the suits, but it is more of a suit rather than a dreadnought.
That's how it should be, because you know they've got extra layers of physical protection, and they've got a force field on top of that.
Yeah.
You know, you're not gonna. Anyway.
Why are you going
to put a You're not going to have some sort of cradle like that on a military piece of gear. You're just not.
Because it's also this, because I agree with it, because in the same theory as you would just strap them to the outside of a Land Raider. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I get it. It's because it's supposed to be like an exosuit.
Yeah.
You know,
still cover the dude.
But it's no.
There's also, in terms of what's left to come, we've got all 4 of the main Chaos derivatives. I can see Death Guard getting quite a small update. My prediction is some kind of like gross Warpsmith type character for all the demon engines.
Ooh.
Yeah.
The Thousand Suns haven't had anything for a long time, so they might get combat Terminators would be amazing.
The dual wielding,
like dedicated combat.
Yeah. That would be sweet. Yeah. And the World Eaters are sort of due a bit of a phase 2, aren't they? Because they're quite small. I wonder if they might get Juggernaut Cavalry and maybe their Terminator. The Red Butchers. Be nice.
Thing is, the minute you make all of those factions demonkin, they suddenly had a huge update.
Yeah.
If you think of it that way. Yeah. They suddenly, but yes, they should have some more dedicated Chaos Marine bits. Basically, what we should be looking at are the sort of the Age of Sigmar equivalent mortal, demonic mortal. Like the Blight Lords equivalent. So basically, bringing back the demonic cavalry. So you've got Chaos Space Marines on Juggernauts. You've got
the synergy between the two would be really
yeah. You know.
Very interesting.
It would be very interesting.
There's a lot of really cool things that they could do the minute they start to really lean into the chaos, which they should. It's the 41st millennium, not the 31st millennium.
So going back to Emperor's Children quickly, so we've seen some helmets.
Yeah.
One of them I particularly like. We've seen sonic weapons.
Yeah.
It's a sonic pistol.
Sonic pistol, which is new.
Yeah.
So we can probably take from that Noise Marines are 100% getting done.
Yes.
What else do you think they're going to do?
Well, if they're going to do Demonkin, that will be the first one.
Let's put Demonkin aside. Let's presume it's going to be like the other one.
Exactly. Yeah. So if they're not introducing demons in there, I think because there's a lot of scope, I think it will be much in line with the World Eater release, which was an infantry kit.
Yep.
We'll see new cultists, which will just probably look incredible.
Yeah, I think that'll look wild.
Yeah. We'll see an elite kit, which will probably be a multi-kit for 2. Whether it will be like an 8 bound or whether it will be more like a Terminator kit, I don't know yet because they have got the Phoenician guard they could do.
There was a Phoenician sword.
Yeah, one thing
of
that's
the
quite...
things
That's the general aesthetic of their weaponry anyway.
The armor looks very sleek and uncorrupted. So I wonder if it will be more of like a Bladesman sort of thing.
Well, then
So
they
maybe it
might
will be
get the Terminator unit that World Eaters didn't, which will be awesome. And it would also make sense because they are the ones that guarded Fulgrim. So...
I mean,
so you might get those.
Surely
I don't think you'll get Palatine blades. You might though. You might because they might make the normal Noise Marine kit a dual kit, so you could build them as Palatine blades, which is basically cool elite combat ones.
It would make sense to give you a choice between having like shooty infantry and choppy infantry.
Do you think they get a Sonic Dreadnought?
I don't think they will. I want them to, because that's what I was going to say. I think that's all it's going to be, because then they'll still have access to all of the regular vehicles. What I would love is them to have a Sonic Dreadnought, or something which I've been saying for years. I converted mine from my original Emperor's Children Army out to Defilers. But I would something called like a Scream engine. And basically this horrible demonic thing.
A demon engine?
Yeah, a demon engine which obviously has all of the Sonic weaponry and horrible tentacles on it, just because that's how I roll. But I don't think that we will see that because they've got so many other things that they're releasing. I want to be proven
I guess
wrong,
also you've got the issue of like, if they get a Sonic Dreadnought, is it like a Hellbrute or is it something other? Because that's the issue with...
the Hellbrute kit's tiny.
That's the thing, is Hellbrutes now are kind of going out of fashion and they probably need to be retired. Whereas you've got cool demon, you've got like Plague Burst Crawlers for Death Guard. Everyone's got their unique floaty bloat drones and the Malefic...
Well, Death Guard are the most realised range.
It's a
at the
huge
moment,
range.
I think.
Thousand Suns don't have a demon.
No, they need.
I wonder if
they've
we'll
just got the
see
Mutalith Warp Beast.
the Vortex Beast thing. I wonder if we'll see some demon engines for the other legions.
I hope so.
Because like it's instead of to phase out the Hellbrute, because I doubt they're going to do like a Hellbrute Redemptor scale up. Maybe they will.
Do you think they'll redo Trumpet Face's head? No Trumpet Face?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
Sergeant.
probably.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, I think
Really
they will.
grotesque. Like see the teeth at the end.
I'm weirdly like I'm now I've seen the Noise Marine weaponry. I'm pretty confident that they're just going to be incredible, and they. Rather than trying to completely reinvent the wheel, they're going with the artwork. The artwork's very creepy. As long as we should see torsos which like where the abdomen's bare. And they've just got the breastplate on. You know, this weird sort of, it's just not going to be good.
Well, on the fallen Emperor's child on the Eldar Codex, there was like a big orb thing here on their armor. So they're going to look pretty weird.
That's good. As they should.
I'm excited to see how they come out, and I think that was very.
I think the
exciting.
cultists will be incredible. That's what I'm weirdly more excited to see them, because that will truly be new.
Well, Hellraiser
cultists. Hellraiser cultists.
But we saw what they did with the Jackals for World Eaters.
Yeah, which are perfect.
I'm so excited to see
I think the
them.
cultists could be really something.
Really something.
The only thing, so where I wasn't sure about the Dread Knights, you know what I'm not sure about with the Emperor's Children? Fulgrim.
Look, I don't know how you beat the 30k one.
They've
already made him.
Right?
I know.
They've already made him. There it is, I've said it, they've already made it. How do you make something better than that?
Well, I think you need to, I don't think it'll be, I think it's going to be a real Marmite thing. I think the beauty is if you have the 30k one and you have the 40k one, you can kind of pick and choose which one you prefer for your choice. I think the 40k one needs to be really nasty.
I wonder if he might have different face options. I wonder if you've got some horribly grotesque thing, or like a really nice, like smiling sort of guy. Not nice, like horrible, grotesque smile.
Yeah.
And then like a monster face, something like that.
What I'd really like to see is like a horrible snake beast, like all entwined into one, this horrible kind of worm-like, disgusting amalgamation of things. Like, even with the Keeper of Secrets, they're like, slightly like they're part pig, part cow, part human, part like it's all melded together and quite grotesque, like the Thing, but in a less sticky nature. But I'd like to see then a little hand with a mirror that he's looking at. So he thinks he's still beautiful and all it's Fulgrim, but you on the battlefield are seeing what the warp has done to Fulgrim.
Or maybe like an attendant with a big mirror.
So he's like, I'm the most beautiful of them all, but actually he's this grotesque beast.
See, I would go for this Japanese-style snake-like creature, which obviously doesn't really have a human face anymore. But being the dark sort of person I am, I would then have his old face, which he wears as peeled skin.
Oh, like a cape. Oh, yeah.
It's got it spread across.
Oh,
and then you could put, like gaudy vaudevillian style makeup on it, like something just horrifying.
Yes, please.
I wonder if he might be the Christmas Day reveal.
Maybe.
Look, we might be talking about this.
Yeah,
like
we
a bunch
don't.
of idiots. And everyone's like, but we've seen it already. And we'll be like, "Oh."
Because all 3 of the other ones got leaked ahead, didn't they? I don't know about Mortarion actually, but Magnus certainly was. He was like found in a bin or something. Right. Angron was in some like potato cam image as well. Surely it'd be better to reveal him in a spectacular
he doesn't
fashion
get spoiled. Yeah.
rather than have him spoiled.
Yeah, the spoilers are very sad.
I don't. They might. Maybe they're getting better at the leagues. Though. Remember, I mean, they kept the entire leagues of Votan tight.
Yeah, that's
sealed.
true. That's true.
The only thing that seemed to leave from Eldor was like, I think I saw like Fuegan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuegan.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Krieg, I think, were not leaked.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing anything about that. It does
Okay,
seem to
I
be
don't
getting
know.
tight.
Look, who knows?
Look, I think it's going to look like Praetor Rykard from Elden Ring. I don't know.
I think it will be. I think it will be an Emperor's Children reveal on Christmas Day. You know, like we'll know by the time you hear.
You can tell us in the comments of this here video.
Tell me what it is, please.
The problem is that they're going to release the army, and I'm going to want to do the army myself, but I just do not have.
You've got to do your Grey Knights.
You've got to do your Grey Knights.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to prioritise Grey Knights. Yeah. But what if it's really
smaller range,
good?
presumably?
But what if it's really amazing?
It's going to be really good. Both are going to be really good.
Yeah.
You're going to. This is the thing also as well. We're in this world when every single range release, except for some Sangry God, have all been amazing.
Yeah.
There's been.
We're getting through them, aren't we? Looking around.
Yeah, there's not that many to go.
There's not tons left. How exciting!
How exciting! Oh, makes me feel all excited for this brand new year we're in. And speaking of the brand new year, if you want to see more of this kind of content and just battle reports and see everything as it unfolds, hit subscribe, hit like on this video, hit the little bell so you get notifications, and do head over to On Demand, where there's a veritable buffet of content.
Delicious.
And we'll be covering everything that comes out as it comes out because we're super excited about it. Yeah. You might see Lawrence paint something.
You will this year if Grey Knights drop.
I'll sign up for that.
Yeah.
I'll sign up for it too.
It will be a sight.
It will be a sight. But until next time, I've been James Jordan, aka The Bard. Today I've been joined by the painter extraordinaire himself, Mr. Lawrence Baker. The menace himself, Mr. Joe Pointing.
Happy New Year, you massive host.
I have been your massive host. We have been Tabletop Tactics. We'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.